Why do I need a label? Why do I need to call myself a humanist? What's the point? Can't you just be a good person? These are all things I've been asked or told since labeling myself a humanist. And while I've been proud to claim that I am a humanist, I've also seen many people shy away from the word completely, as if labeling themselves is going to box them in. This is crazy to me. Like, why limit myself to expressing what I'm not when I can much more easily express what I am with a label? Hello, I'm Jason and I'm from Humanist Australia with a rambling of why I love labels today. Check us out online, and if you are a humanist and want to support the good work that humanists do in Australia, then consider becoming a member at our site humanistaustralia.org. And back to it. The thing that's most mind-boggling to me, I think, is that everyone already accepts hundreds of labels about themselves already. Like, I'm a male, I'm a white guy, I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm an employee. Like, come on. Imagine if I was just down at the park with my kids and someone comes up to me and says, "You're such a good father." And I just turn around and be like, hey, don't box me into your labels, mate. Like, labels are there even if you don't acknowledge them. But I honestly don't think it's the being boxed in concept that stops most people from owning the label humanism, or any label for that matter. Personally, and look, I might be talking out of line here because I've only just started calling myself a humanist, but that's not the point. And also, not too long ago, I discovered humanism, or the word humanism. So I'd be a humanist earlier if I had have heard of it, but I'm getting sidetracked anyway. Where was I? What I believe is, more often than not, that people just haven't really thought about their philosophy of life or religion or spirituality, etc. Like, it's not really as critical these days, is it? It seems that you need to know that deep level of understanding of yourself or philosophy, like, especially in like the Western nations. Like, laws hold most of us in check, and for the most part, so long as you're following them, then you're probably going to be leading a good enough life. Will it be a fulfilling life? I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. That's up for them to decide. The thing that keeps a good chunk of people away from labels, from what I can see, is the just not knowing enough about the label or subject. And like, let's be honest, there are a few religions of and philosophies of life out there, so it sort of is like a choice overload for a lot of people. And heck, does it even add that much to the average person's life? Well, I think there's actually a good argument that it can make a difference to the average person, and maybe humanism could make the biggest difference on our lives. But that's something I'm pondering on. I know for myself, I found embracing humanism has added to my fulfillment, so take that however you want to. I personally friggin' love labels, and more so recently, more than ever before, after the recent onslaught of people asking why label, blah 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 blah. Well, why label? I did need an answer because I didn't have one at the time, and maybe I'm off by a mile on my thoughts here, and if so, let me know in the comments. But firstly, a label is a powerful tool. It's like a packet of information that's just been compressed 1 billion times in some cases. Before I said I was a humanist, I'd have hours long chats explaining why I don't go around committing war crimes. Now I'm just like, bam, I'm a humanist. Go look it up. So if you're like me and you're interested in saving time in those deep talks, labels are the cheat codes. Now, let's be honest as well, some labels you gravitate towards are not going to be the end result, but a stepping stone of sorts, like when you first discover altruism, and then you research it, and then you discover the issues with it, and then you discover effective altruism and research it, and then you discover the issues of that, and then you go on to pragmatic altruism, and yada, yada, yada. When you start figuring out that first label, it's sometimes just breadcrumbs to the next one, or as it's often said, your opportunity to stand on the shoulders of giants, allowing you to quickly expand your knowledge so you don't waste your time trying to figure out everything yourself. Now, this is all grand and dandy, but my personal favorite thing of discovering my labels, and I'll say that we really do discover them in many ways, I believe. I was a humanist before, or for the most part, before I knew what humanism was. It's definitely helped me solidify some areas, but I haven't so much as said, oh yes, like this is what I want to be. But my personal favorite is the common connections a label can bring. I'm discovering more people that are aligned with my values and beliefs than ever before, and at a foundational level as well. And I know if I go overseas or wherever I run into another humanist, I'll know that they'll hit this, and this, generally speaking, and there will also be like this instant connection of like, it's like sort of like when you meet another Australian when you're in another country. Like when you're in Australia and you meet another Australian, it's like, "Pff, who cares?" But in another country, well, now we're cooking with gas, and there's that instant connection. I'm sure you all know what I mean. Well, I suppose not the ones that haven't travelled yet, but get out there, do some travelling, meet some Australians abroad, see how it goes. And I'll tell you what as well, knowing my label, knowing what I stand for is a darn sight better than not. It's that sense of ownership. I do stand for something because, as they say, if you stand for nothing, you will fall for everything. Now, I don't want to get all peachy eyed and pretend there's no downsides to labels. There obviously is, but before I go into that, we're trying to build the Humanist Australia community this year, so please like and subscribe. But also, join us on Facebook. Links will be in the description. I'm active in there myself, and it'll be great to connect. Now, back to the bad. Some people don't own the label. They get owned by the label. They become it, not discover it, so to speak. I've got my fair share of friends that have been diagnosed with ADHD, for instance, and discovering that didn't help them in many ways because they started using it as the crutch. It gave them excuses as to why they couldn't, not the knowledge of how they could. By the way, I have got ADHD. And I did the second part. I went out and said, okay, like this is how I'm going to have to, manage myself and build out my coping mechanisms. So it can work both ways. Understanding those labels can be critical for a more functional life in some cases. If you're expected to or have taken on a label from someone else, this could be parents or friends or partners or whatever. But living up to those labels or embracing the negative labels you might feel you have, this can be damaging. Like this comes back to an earlier thing I said. We have labels regardless if we acknowledge them. You might be living up to labels you don't even want. And I say, if you think you have a negative label, lean into it and figure out if you do or not, and then grow from the knowledge. Like if you have a negative label and don't want want it, then this will be the first step to overcoming it. It's all about acceptance, like when it comes to that sort of stuff, isn't it? First part or first step is always admitting it or always accepting it, etc. Anyway, maybe that's a topic for another time before I get too far ahead. I've talked enough, and this isn't an exhaustive list about labels. I'm sure there's plenty of things which I've missed or haven't considered, and it's just my humble opinions, okay? So figure out your labels, research it, and move forwards. If you made it this far, thanks for listening, and hopefully this rambling all made sense. And hey, if you keep watching, see you next time.